Flight boss, bitch. You know, for sure. You're not listening to the Mind of an Terrence Moon. I'm the Archangel Uriel, and I'm here to carry out God duties and motherfucking responsibilities. And right now we're gonna get into why going within is going into your motherfucking past. That's right, going within is going into your motherfucking past. So if you want to know anything about yourself, that was you before you was in this body. That was you before you. Going into your motherfucking self. Now what do I mean by that? Now going within the past, there's many multitudes of different ways I could break this down. I'm gonna break a few down right now before we get deep into this motherfucking video. Now you have to look at everything like this. Don't get lost into the scientific terms of past. Because, you know, you will start to understand how the past worked, but you won't be able to understand how to decipher your past. And to know where you're going, you have to know where you came from. So if you don't even know how to decipher your past, even before you was even in this motherfucking body, then how the fuck you gonna know where the fuck you going? So you come into this life lost, indoctrinated, looking for science, looking for things, always constantly looking, to the point that the only repetition and pattern you got going on in your life is constantly looking, to the point that you can never say, I'm here. You always nowhere. You know what I'm saying? You can never be now and here. You always nowhere. You always nothing. You're never no thing, no shape and form. So I'm trying to get everybody on that level of vibration. Nigga, welcome to the fucking 4th, 5th, and 6th dimension when you come on my motherfucking page. But for the most part, let's break it down like this. Now, when you go in the past, now you have to look at it like this. Even scientists can understand this. Everything is predicated on the past, present, future. So when you go within when you go within yourself, that'll be your past. The way you calculate those past experiences with the present, your present state now, that would be the present. And how you formulate the two, you can start to shape and form and calculate your future. So you can take this all the way back to us just being motherfucking spirits, right? You can take it as the frequency vibration, or the unconscious to the subconscious, right? And then, or the spirit becoming an individual soul. You know what I'm saying? So the timeline gets to be experienced second due to the vibration. So when those bounce back and forth, when your individual soul bounce back and forth with being into the spirit and then being an individual spirit, you get to create some futuristic shit for yourself, aka the conscious realm, aka the energy, aka the motherfucking body. You know what I'm saying? So we create the motherfucking energy. We create these energy spiral vortexes with our spiritual souls. You see what I'm saying? And then within all those chemical attributes mixed in with the outer attributes, we get shape and form. And then that's what you call energy. And that energy can be non-physical to physical, but the more energy, aka light, sound, whatever y'all want to call it, get put into it, it can become solid and become dense, and it can become a reality, or appear to be a reality. That's when y'all get the rising, your ascendant sign. That's when the sun was rising when you was born. So that's how the sun appeared to be when you was born. So this is how you're going to appear to be. This is going to be your appearance. It turned into your personality. Whatever space the sun was in, that's the personality part of the day, or energy, or the space that's correlated to your ascendant. So this is what rises you. So when you come around, this is your aura. This is how you appear to be. But this might not be how you act or react to things, like your sun and your moon. This may just be your personality throughout it all. So yeah, everybody might know your personality at work, but people don't really know how you act or react to things until they really get to know you. And then they have to be around you to know your sun and your moon before they get the first appearance. You see what I'm saying? The first perspective, which is the rising, the ascendant. That's the first appearance of it. But if you ain't going to sit there and consider what the sun is doing after you see the appearance of it, yeah, you see the color, you see the shine, you feel the energy, you know the presence, you see where it's at. But if you're going to sit there and calculate where it's going and what it's doing, then you're not calculating its actions. If you're not going to sit there and feel how it reacts to you and how it responds, you're not calculating the reflection of it, which is the moon. So that's why the ascendant stay as the ascendant. And that's why it represents what area of life, aka which area, which space and location you came down in before you start to correlate your masculine and feminine vehicles that you create for yourself as light bodies. That's what we call them in the 4th dimension. You see what I'm saying? So when you go into your past, that's like when you go, not going into your past, but when you go within, going inside, that's like going into your goddamn memory card. And you're going and you're looking at all the saved games that you have, all the saved loaded games you have, aka all your past experiences, even before this body. You know what I'm saying? So that's why you need to understand that. Going within is like your memory card. It's like your Akashic records. It's like you're going over all your motherfucking saved video games, or all my females out there, y'all going through all your old diaries and your experience, and even before this body, which we're going to get into that also. So check this out. Now, your feelings in general come from past experiences. That's what you have to understand first and foremost. All your feelings and emotions come from past experiences, and they may come up from time to time in the present. So, and then, like I said, we go back to this science. The more you know how to calculate and mathematically structure your past with your present, the better you're going to create the shape and form for the future. The better you don't know how to do that, the better you're telling the universe that you're not ready, and you're going to stay in that same pattern and rotation before you can move on to any future. So that future will appear to be like the present or a past scenario. It will never be a new experience, but we're going to get into that. We're going to get into that. You see what I'm saying, motherfucker? Now look, your feelings in general comes from past experiences. That's what you need to know, because you came into this world, right, based on resonation, what you resonated with. And that's not nothing but what you are familiar with. So everything you manifest in your life, aka, is something that you're familiar with in some way, shape, or form. You're not going to do something if you're not familiar with it. Otherwise, you're going to feel uncomfortable in the middle of doing it. Now, for the most part, it doesn't even matter if you meet somebody that you never knew before, or go into a location that you never knew before. that you never been before. You're going to catch certain feelings, or certain feelings and emotions is going to arouse. Pay attention to those. When you're around certain people you don't, that you never seen before, and even people that you do know around you, pay attention to how they making you feel. Because here's the thing, when we get into understanding your memory card, which is going within, right? Talking about the past is not always correlated with this realm of reality. I'm talking about even beyond this realm of reality. When you was in other forms, when you was in other, you wasn't always in this shape and form, right? That's why you see possibilities now that you can be in front of somebody that you never seen before, but catch certain feelings and emotions, because that person is the shape and form of an experience that you have experienced before. Now, since you're in this realm of reality, and you got born and got birthed here, and you died from the last one and came into this dimension or this realm of reality, the grouping of lights and alignment with the planets and stars is different. So it's going to be different kinds, different shapes and forms, different concepts, different ideas that's taking shapes and forms of these energies. But one thing that's not going to change is the energy signature. This is why you see a certain person, or you got a favorite food, a favorite cereal, and then you got certain foods that you just automatically don't like. You automatically don't like that shit. Like, nah, I don't want to try that shit. And then when you do try it, you like, yeah, this is the reason why I don't like this shit. Why is that? Because that shape and form is playing out in that way in this lifetime. But when you was in another lifetime, in a previous life, in a previous alignment, in a previous angle, it was a different kind, different shape and form. So you're not going to remember based upon the actual logical brain that you was using, left brain wise at the time. But what you are going to remember is the actual energy signature, the way it makes you feel, the way it make you, the way you was emotionally connected to it. And then everything you manifest in your life is based upon what you're familiar with and what's comfortable to you in some way, shape, and form. So when you got other people, places, and things in your life that's playing as road blockages to your comfortability in some way, shape, and form in a higher realm, they are stopping you from your true self, or they're blocking you from you manifesting what makes you comfortable. So every time their energy around, it participate in the astral realm as moving you in an area of space that you don't like to be in. So it plays out down here in your lower form as you being uncomfortable. That's why everybody need to understand, everyone has a higher self. What is your whole purpose of saying, oh my God? Think about what you said. You said, oh my God. You're God. You see what I'm saying? So you have a higher self. Now, when we talk about an overall God, this is just something that did whatever you're doing way before you. You know what I'm saying? So it was a leader or something, or a teacher. It was a musician. It was whatever you think you're doing before you. You know what I'm saying? So it did that first. And then there was a couple motherfuckers that did it after that motherfucker. And then there was a couple but you need to understand concepts first. Now, so you and your lower self down here. So when you got those voices in your head, them ain't coming from outside. That's coming from your higher self. Your higher self ain't dealing with language and all that kind of shit and concepts. So when you bring it down here into the realm of reality that you are in at the moment, depending on how far you have failed, that's the best way you're going to have to decipher it. But that's why you have to understand when religious people be talking about, God told me this, God told me that. God ain't tell you shit in your language. God ain't tell you shit in the English language. God ain't tell you shit in your Spanish language. What God did was come to you through your emotions and feelings to let you know that this is an actual place that you can actually be at. You know what I'm saying? You could be at heaven right now. You could be in hell right now. Now, physically, you may have manifested a lower form. So, you know what I'm saying? You got to utilize your higher self. And whatever area or location your higher self is at, depending on how lost it is, your spirit is, or whatever like that, then that's on you. But it's going to play out down here. And you're going to be able to see how lost or how well a person know where they at based upon their attributes and based upon the attributes that they play out in their everyday life. Whether they know they self or they looking for something and waiting for something. You see what I'm saying? That's how you know. Now, and when you know yourself, that's the only way you'll be able to communicate with the overall God on the street God live at in the astral realm. Because for the most part, it can't even communicate to you in your fucking language in your even lower form and shit like that. Because if you want to communicate with this kind of, if you want to communicate with the overall God talking about a language or something like that, then you have to go to the lowest of low. Now, what y'all think is the lowest of low here? What y'all think would be negative language, then language that sound like someone getting possessed, then language that sound like speaking in tongues, and that's also possession also. And then it has to be negative and cursing, and then it has to be so vulgar, and then it has to be one of the first languages ever created here, almost caveman-like. And then that will be the only time you actually communicating with the overall God as far as the realm that you are in from a low perspective. But if you talk about its high nature, and then you talking about God coming to you in your language or something like that, you didn't already put limitations and shit. And you talking about a Lord. You ain't talk. See, let's talk about this, because once we get on some other shit, y'all know how I go. I'm really in that world. Y'all motherfucking theologians and shit like that. Y'all not in that world. I don't know what y'all logically trying to do in this world. But for the most part, yeah, let's talk. Your feelings in general takes you into your motherfucking past. So that's, anytime you go within, say you in your feelings, they come from the past. Think about the things you feel. It's a memory about something. And these memories could be negative or positive, but that's the only time you could be in your feelings. If you're sharing or you're in one of your memories. And what is one of your memories? Something that's a saved game. Something that's in your motherfucking past. So your feelings in general come from past experiences. So that's why be careful even when you get funny feelings around new people. Because this person is carrying an energy signature that you haven't experienced before. And that's telling you right now that even in this reality up under these group of your lights, this kind of con is going to play out the same energy signature. No matter the shape and form or the illusion and what they're saying in their body language that's making you feel like they ain't. If you feel a certain way, it's letting you know that that's just another illusion, but the energy signature, that spirit is still playing out the same attributes. So that's how you get spiritually inclined, understanding that. So keep that in motherfucking mind. Now, also, being lost in the past, aka being in your feelings, could turn you into a ghost. Now, what do I mean by that? It could turn you into a ghost because your body is in the present, but your spirit is in the past. Because anytime you got hurt, anytime you had a catastrophic experience that you went through, like maybe a serious car accident or a relationship, or got shot at, or your business just got shut down, or you lost your job, or your child died, or your parents died, whatever hurt scenario that you went through, right? That'll make you harbor on. Now, like I said, experiences is tied to what came second, which is when you became an individual spirit, which is a soul. So you start to experience seconds, you start to experience the line of events from the frequency, from the frequency realm, and you start to experience that shit. So when you experience that, create movement, fluid. You see what I'm saying? So this is what makes this the first light body that your spirit can take in order to move through the astral realm. You know what I'm saying? So this is what makes it an individual spirit. It's the first cloth layer, light that it can, information that it can utilize as information to be like, okay, I'm my own space now. You know what I'm saying? Within the overall space, within the overall parameter. So as far as when you got memories that that's so catastrophic it forced you to always go back into. Now if you utilize most of your day, aka most of your experience, most of your time in that realm of reality, your body is going to be here, but your spirit is there. So you become a ghost there, and you become a zombie here. You know what I'm saying? You become alive there, you become dead here. You know what I'm saying? You become super subconscious, and you just totally forget about the conscious realm. So you ended up being a forgetful person. You know what I'm saying? And then these past situations start to play out in your conscious life. It start to play out in your future, to the point you're looked at as a person who can't get out of a funk. You look at as a person who stay in their moods. You looked at as a person who's in their feelings. And then when you got past experiences playing out in the present as if they was more important than the present, then those feelings and emotions will overthrow the present. So if those past experiences were catastrophic in a negative way, you could be having a blissful present moment. You could be having people who trying to help you in your present, but you won't be able to see it because you'll be foggy and blind, and then you'll be creating scenarios and catastrophic moments in the present that correlate with the bad experiences from the past. So you will run people away. So you're not understanding that you're bringing past shit to the present when you're not supposed to. So you have to understand that, how to decipher that also. So being lost in the past, being lost in yourself, can make you a ghost here. So don't get lost in yourself. Remember what I said at the beginning. You got to correlate the past with the present in order to construct your future. So if you know yourself, know your past, you'll shine that much brighter in the present, and then your future will be that much brighter. Now, new experiences. Now, this is what new experiences mean, and this is what your spirit is here to do. Because when you pay attention when you're having a new experience. When you're having a new experience, there is no way to feel, which is actually your godly state, your God and goddess's state. Understand that, male and females. When you're going through a new experience, there is no way to feel, which is actually your godly state. That is your goddess and goddess's state right there. Now, I don't care if this new experience, because that's when you have the most power. I don't care if this new experience is positive or negative. These are the experiences that you need in order for your spirit to have some enhancements. In order to have spiritual enhancements, you need new experiences. Anytime you're stuck in a pattern or a routine too long, your spirit is going to force you out of that. You know what I'm saying? And create a person, place, or thing that will manifest in your life to force you up out of that pattern. So don't get too good and riddance and your feet too much stuck on the ground. Because your spirit will lift you right up off the ground when you get too much down to earth sometimes. I ain't never down to earth, so sometimes I need shit to anchor me down to earth. You see what I'm saying? And that's what I have to learn. But, you know, depending on everybody else. But, like I said, when you're going through new experiences, that's when you're at your godly state. That's when you have the most power. Think about that shit. When you're going through a new experience, right? And say it's a negative one. You're going to be able to do some shit that you never could do before. You say you was getting chased or something like that. You're going to be able to run like you never ran before to get out of that. Say you're going through a positive new experience. This is where you feel the most happiest you ever felt ever. You know what I'm saying? Now, remind you, when you go through new experiences, this is why I said pay attention to it, is because this is where you're going to attract and gain the most information in your life. The most knowledge, the most wisdom, when you're going through something new. Think about something you're familiar with. If you played a video game and you play that video game 100 times, you already know what to do. But when you get a new game and you play that video game, you end up learning some shit that you never did before. It's a new experience. Right? So for an example, girls, you do a new hairstyle that you never did before. It's a new experience. So next time you'll be able to do it better because you're more familiar with it. So for an example, when you're going through new experiences, this is when the chaos is where the most creativity is at. So this is when you are attracting the most information, because within these experiences, you're able to know what to do and what not to do next time to develop a better spaceship to go through the astral travel and be able to obtain more or be able to lose more and still be spiritually intact with yourself when you're going through these astral travels, aka these experiences that we're going through. You see what I'm saying? So that's why you need to understand new experiences is when you're at your godly state. So don't look at no experience as negative or positive. Look at it as something that you need to go through in order for spiritual enhancements, in order to better develop your spaceship, your shape and form. You know what I'm saying? Something you want to become, something you want to possess, something you want to go into. I don't care if it's a concept, business, word, or body, or realm. It's all the same shit to me. Now, that's why I said your best life. Never give up. Never give up hope. I don't give a fuck how old you is. I don't give a fuck how long it's taking you to do what you do. Don't get discouraged and blinded by the illusions and lights and the information that's in front of you in this realm. Because this is not the only life. And this is where people get confused from, because they're lost in the doctrines of what death and life mean, which is nothing more but transformation. You got some transformations that's more catastrophic than others. But for the most part, that don't mean your spirit is going nowhere. Now, you just need to know you're developing another shape and form. Don't develop no weak one and one that's only developed with these planets and lights. Develop some new ones. The ones that's developed, some ones you could travel elsewhere and be a bigger source. Now, for the most part, this is why you need to understand it's your best life. Ain't no telling what time your best life gonna come. You could be trying to do something from the day you was 12 years old, and you probably 70 years old right now. Don't get discouraged like I never got to do what I do. Fuck that shit. Still try to do what you do. Your best life probably ain't came up yet. So don't start playing and participating in the energy vortex of, well, this time is up, because you always going to be able to have, you always going to have that mind state. You always want to develop that spaceship wherever you go as a spirit. So when you go into that body, you always going to be like, you always going to end up experiencing to some degree you not being able to live your best life in some way, shape, or form. Be in that presence now, and I don't give a fuck what time it is. In some way, shape, or form, the universe has no choice but to create that experience for you, because you're helping it. You're not helping it create some bullshit. So your best life, never give up. Your best life could be at any fucking time. You know what I'm saying? Your best life could start tomorrow. Don't start jumping into negative ass energies. Your best life, and then your best life might not even be in this lifetime. But when you die from this one and get born into that one, your best life might start the first day you take your breath. Yo, that whole life might be the shit. You might got the best parents, best life, already rich and pure shit, all kind of shit there. Already motherfucking prosperity already, admitting you already a source. You got to do little to nothing to get from point A to point B. Shit. Never give up what the fuck you putting your energy into, because you never know. Your best life is a space and a location that you go through as a spirit. And then you, in this form and in this area, you might not be there yet. But the time frame might be here also. You might not be there yet in the age frame. It might be in this realm of reality, just not at the age yet. You might not see it till you 90. You see what I'm saying? That don't mean give up hope when you 89. You get what I'm saying? So, and then, but your spirit might not travel through that area and location of space yet till probably when you die from this form. Probably when you die from the next form. But if you always stay in that spirit, the universe has no choice. And the more you experience the contraction moment, the catastrophic, the going without moment, the larger the expansion, the yang, which y'all part, y'all know that's what y'all are. But for the most part, yeah, that's when you can experience a greater expansion. You have way more experiences in that energy that you was putting in, saying that this is going to be my best life. So if you experienced a whole bunch of lives without experiencing your best life, but you were still in the energy vortex of, no, my best life is coming. I know it's today. It's today. It's today. Even if the illusion is showing you you ain't. If you had a lot of those, get ready. You finna have a lot of those motherfucking times that you motherfucking was in your best motherfucking life. I don't give a fuck if it's this lifetime or not. That's the lifetime I'm living on, motherfucking flight boss. Ooh, shit, legs hurt. Love y'all earth. I want to quote unquote heaven or the living longer or forever life, y'all fucking Christian vampires. But for the most